All right. So yeah, more on this landmark thing. Yeah. Well, I mean, I really didn't even complete the sub thought there because uh, I had to go. But the thing is, okay, yeah. First, to make clear, yeah, this education and the grain of truth. I mean, first of all, I'm going to say that's for the sake of that's sort of for the sake of argument because of the fact, the acknowledgement that there is some grains of truth. You know what? There's some protein in bait as well. So um, the thing about the implicit and explicit philosophy, for example, I can be more explicit myself about how I feel about that, which is there's simple truisms that illustrate the ends don't justify the means, and it's the simple fact that there is no end. It's just means after means after means. So the means justify the means. Okay, by not using two different concepts and pretending that one turns into the other, it becomes obvious. One doesn't turn into the other; it leads to the other. So the means that you get in the end will have the progeny and the sum of the means you use to get there. If you go to these trainings, uh, you will be trained in a behavioralist, simple sense, not just with what they directly teach you, but with the subliminal assertion that to get this transformation, you have to use these cult techniques. You have to break people down, prove them their worthlessness. Okay, it's bullshit. Okay, please let me be very clear. It is bullshit. This was a really difficult week. They took us to a very nice hotel. I was happy to see they didn't pay that nice a hotel. Our group rate was turned to 4-star hotel. Company was paying, a 2.5 or ordinary hotel kind of price. And yet they keep you in these long sessions. I mean, they used to run these things from 9 until midnight. And then when they give you breaks, they give you all this homework. Go write a letter. Go think about this. Dig into this. Come back with this. And and they make it grueling. Now it's funny because the Vanto Group one is, grueling by the business conference standards, but it's not at the EST level. They don't keep you till midnight. They threaten to keep you till 7, and they let you go a little bit earlier than that. But still, it's not like a business conference where there's some comfort and accommodation. They do string you out compared to that normal standard. Now, it's a joke compared to the OEST way, where they be telling you you're a liar because you came back from your break late and you're a scumbag and you're not keeping your prime, blah, 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 you're a worm. And even some of these Vanto Group meetings, people have reported some of that. And I watched very too much of a wrong kind of criticism of some of my employees that came up with their persistent complaints that got this landmark treatment of blaming the victim. And again, I admit there's a grain of truth there. You should always, have some sort of a blame, but it's not an all or nothing thing. It is true you have to take ownership for your emotional interpretation of an event. But the thing is, okay, basically what they're applying on that, I mean, my way of addressing that is that there's a shortcut. Okay, there's a shortcut to solving the emotional part of a problem, and therefore what you consider as a problem in any given problem, and that is apathy. You can always just be apathetic. It's one of the main ways of accepting things the way they are. In skepticism, that's what they say will keep you to tranquility, accepting things the way they are. And that's part of what they do. You identify these persistent complaints and your fixed way of being about them. And identifying it that way, it is able to make you, it's one path to being more apathetic, okay, about that condition, the part of the condition at least that leads to uh, your bad emotional feelings. But but on Fortunately, it doesn't address the currents, the facts, the problems that are still there. And I think that's one of the dangers, is it's not a very sophisticated. Now, if you're running around with your emotional hang-ups defining your life and how you do your work, then even though their tool is a very crude one, you might feel a benefit from it. But again, to be very clear, I don't think there is a real benefit unless you have a strong philosophy that the landmark training cannot overcome. So it provokes a little bit of an angle. Now, I was willing to use this. As a matter of fact, I was insisting to use this time to make myself somehow better worker. See, they got me just by the start on wanting some sort of a change. But that's a funny thing. They don't believe in change. They believe in transformation. This really bothered and startled me. And the first day is that breaking you down day. But see, I already am someone that anytime I have a problem with someone, I look for my blame. And it doesn't mean I'm totally at fault. No, I mean, if it's 90% you and 10% me, I a long time ago figured out that 10% was what I could work on. So I also know that if you use techniques to release the emotional uh, pressure something's making you feel, that, well, wait a second. Why did you build up that emotional pressure? Is it always inappropriate? No, you might release that emotional feeling and just be starting over. Starting over, because the experiences you're having are going to build up until you realize, oh yeah, me being emotionally okay with this didn't make it actually okay. It just made me ignore and accept it. Made me a pushover. I learned that sometimes, when I'm 10% wrong and someone's 90% wrong, and my tendency is to become obsessively analytic about the 10% that I can do something about. And I've learned that, you know, if 90% of the problem's really somewhere else, then, that is where you have to look. And if you want to address that, then you're going to need lots of these external world energies. You can't just accept it in your own heart and go on. And this is kind of the thing. I don't know much about Scientology, but these techniques where you take a process that should be long, the process of change is long, and it does involve deconstructing yourself and heading towards nihilism until you get close enough, not that you really are nihilistic, but you think you are, and you realize you need to start building up something again. It's a natural process when done in evolutionary paces or even high speed by a very good learner of a human being. Okay, to shove it into a few days, this is a destabilizing. You don't want to be able to reboot your operating system that fast, and if you try, you can't get a new operating system that quick. All you can get is some gimmicks that will play on your biases and the parts of your system you understand least well of all. You'll still be applying your system, but you get this extra bunch of tricks that allow you to avoid the meat of the subject. Now, they're intended to avoid the bad feelings, the bad negative feelings that you can get when you're powerless or you feel put upon. But with those feelings go away the real problems. That's what I believe. I believe we have to master our emotions, not master techniques for uh, for turning them off. That's my belief.